allegedly Joey Ryan. We've canceled allegedly Velveteen Dream. My question is this: why has allegedly we have not canceled Matt Riddle?
See a way Deontay Wilder can win this next fight unless it's a knockout. You see the videos of him training. Okay, I guess it looks different.
Another way to capitalize by having fans back and also having wrestlers, just wrestle. Just keep them wrestling.
Welcome, everybody, to the Ring Generals podcast. My name is Nick Nita, and alongside me is Eazy-E Eric Santos.
It's cooking, guys.
And, of course, the RK J-Man.
Well, let's talk that talk, y'all. Hypocritical Nick! Starting off this week with some good talk and some delicious Mike's Hard.
Absolutely, guys. This is going to be a real fun podcast. We have plenty of topics to discuss. A lot going on in the WWE inside and outside the ring. We also have a big switch up in professional boxing regarding the heavyweights. Out of nowhere, we have a new heavyweight championship fight that we really didn't expect for a while. I first want to say, though, as of today, I am fully vaccinated. So I just want to let everybody know that, if you want to come see me and spit into my mouth or something like that or breathe in my face, you're all good. I'm good. Maybe if you're not vaccinated, maybe you should get away from me. But I'm just saying, we're good, guys. I can start talking to you guys in person. Maybe visit a couple wrestling shows. I'm excited. My arm hurts a lot, and my lower back hurt a little bit earlier today, which is something that I had after my first shot.
How does your lower back hurt? How did
joints? It's a joint thing. They just get into my joints and everything's hurting. So yeah, it's the same symptoms as last time. It's not lasting as long. But I just want to throw that out there. Did you guys have any symptoms when you got your stuff? Like, I'm wondering if you guys got stuff. Did you feel anything?
I had when I got my COVID vaccine. The first time around, it was just arm and a headache. But the second time around, that one was a little worse, and it almost felt like I had COVID for a moment because I was nauseous, had a headache, arm was hurting a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I was coughing, was sneezing a little bit. I was like, man, this is the closest I've been to sick in a while because I've been wearing a mask and I haven't been sick.
Yeah.
But it only lasted a few days, and as the research says, and I don't want to get into a debate with all you anti-vaxxers, but as it says. Clearly, it says something about how if it's happening, that means it's doing some work in your body. Hey, look, if you want, it's your personal decision if you want to do this whole vaccine. If you want to do it, fantastic. If you don't want to do it, wear your mask. And if you don't want to wear your mask, then don't go out. But yes, all of us vaccinated people and people who want to wear masks, we're about to go out and have some fun because we haven't done it in a year and a half.
Damn right, preach. Eric, do you feel anything after yours? I actually forget. Did you even get yours yet? I forgot. I get mixed up with everybody.
Just the first one.
Did you have anything after yours?
Just bruised, but nothing else. That's about it. I mean, I don't feel anything.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are feeling good to start this podcast. I am especially too. Like we said, we're going to be talking about a lot of WWE stuff. We obviously have some releases. We have a statement from Velveteen Dream that we want to talk about. We have, circumstances behind releases of other guys. And we want to talk about AEW Double or Nothing, too. Obviously, a big pay-per-view coming up. A little less fanfare than a lot of the other pay-per-views recently. And the world title match, not as big around as the other pay-per-views have been. So we're not as excited about that, but we'll talk about that in a second. So let's go in chronological order. What do we want to talk about first, guys? I think WWE is allowing fans back, right? Something kind of unexpected. And they're allowing fans back before a pay-per-view. It's actually going to start with a Friday Night SmackDown in July. I don't know the exact date. But guys, what's your first thoughts on, WWE going full bore? We expect these arenas to probably be full based on the fact they're in Texas. What do we think? Is this going to improve the product that's been an absolute shit show lately, or do we think it doesn't change much?
First of all, it's going to be July 16th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's right before Money in the Bank. So they're going to have Money in Bank in Texas, which is great because they get to start in Texas. As we know, not a political thing. Texas is a little bit more lenient on the laws in regards to COVID, so that's great. Plus, next year's WrestleMania will be in Texas, in Dallas, Texas. So this gives Vince and company a chance to go scout out the stadium and start getting prepared for that too, because WrestleMania always starts a year in advance for the next year's WrestleMania. But in terms of the product, look, I'm pretty sure they're going to do something pretty cool. I'm pretty sure we're going to get a new stage. We're going to get fans going crazy. We're going to get pyro and everything like that. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, WWE creative sucks. Like, that's just the way it is. So I don't care how great the fans are. If the product sucks, it does not matter. It's like having a great fan base and having a terrible team, like a terrible football team, like the Buffalo Bills all those years, or the Cleveland Browns all those years. You had great fan bases, I mean, great, or the Oakland Raiders, okay, who I hate Oakland Raiders fans, or the Dallas Cowboys. I hate Dallas Cowboys fans. Like,
you just had to do that.
Man, well, now I can't. Okay, hold on. Now I can't promote to Texas, Ohio, New York. That's a big base, man. You just screwed us. We got
the whole world, buddy. We got the whole world. We promote the whole world now. But look, the fact of the matter is this: if the product is not good, it doesn't matter how great the fans are at that particular moment. Eventually, the fans are going to catch on to the product being the same old, just with fans around, and that's what it was like. So all I can say is this: I hope the WWE kind of starts ramping it up. But I also hope that we just continue to try to improve our product every single week. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's happening on Raw. SmackDown, it happens a little bit. But for the most part, there just needs to be some better storylines and better creative as we ramp it up and get fans back into these arenas and stadiums.
Well, so Eric, I want to toss these questions to you. RKJ made some points about the creative. There was also a rumor that Fox was behind this kind of early starting fans coming back, that Fox pushed for it. And then what do you know? Fox gets the first show back on July 16th. Do you think the WWE is prepared to have fans back, or do you think they're just appeasing the boss, kind of?
Both at the same time. I think it's just they want to interact with the quote-unquote WWE universe, as they say. They want to have them back, and they want to interact with them. And, of course, they also just want to appease to the boss at this point, because it's basically no secret. Basically, McMahon has been going on a really fuck it mood, because that's what he's been in as this whole entire year of the whole COVID thing. And, the thing is it's going to be playing out for both sides, and the fact that RKJ does make good points. Yeah, the fans are going to be there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first few nights it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. Like, the fans are going to be electric. They're going to let out everything that they wanted, that they wish they could have let out a year ago. But as as days go and progress, it's going to be the same product as we know it from the beginning of 2020. And how we're going to enter in, which we have now. We have fans bringing in the back. I think fans are going to start catching up and saying that, you know what, this is just the same as what we had, just last year, like at the beginning of last year, the same crappy product. Let's go to AEW. Oh, let's go to Impact. Oh, let's go to Ring of Honor. Oh, let's go to other places. So there's that. And plus, this is going to be a good chance for the other companies to catch on saying that, because as they know, they probably say, hey, you know what? This is also going to be another opportunity for us to, get the fans back. Fans are coming back. This is our chance to shine. So, NWA, AEW, and Ring of Honor, all the other companies, they're going to bring the fans with open arms. So.
Yes, well, AEW is bringing back fans at some point in July, correct, too? I forget what the dates are for that, but they're coming back in July, too. So maybe a little competition from WWE here, too. Realizing that, there's another company that's going to be putting on a very, very good product with fans, and they are not. So maybe a little competition. Maybe Fox sees that too. They see TNT, all that stuff succeeding, AEW getting great ratings. You never know. Thinking positively on this, I hope that they've been saving all their best stuff for when fans come back, right? Like, maybe they've been being lazy on purpose. Like Eric said, they're in fuck it mode. They're saying, you know what, until we get fans back, we're not really going to care. We don't have hot tags. We don't have fan chants during promos. We don't have feedback from the wrestlers. I think also too the wrestlers will be down to have these fans. We saw at WrestleMania, a couple of those matches at WrestleMania were better than they should have been because the wrestlers were more into it than normal, and you could tell the crowd made the event better. So I'm hoping that with fans back, we know they'll be rowdy. We've seen the playoffs in all the other sports right now. We've seen baseball. The fans have been amazing. We hope it's like that for Double or Nothing this Sunday, and we hope it's like that for WWE. So I'm thinking positive. I think WWE will get better. But if you look at the stats, they're probably not. But we'll see. And we'll get an authentic reaction for Roman Reigns finally. This will be some interesting stuff. But yeah, a couple months to wait. Less than 2 months away for fans to come back. But man, I cannot wait for pro wrestling to have fans back. We start with this Sunday. We get a little taste, and then we got to wait all the way till July. So, all right, let's switch to some more sour news. Some releases in WWE, primarily on the NXT brand coming in last week. We had Jake Clemens, they released 2 referees, Drake Wuertz, Jake Clemens. We'll get into Drake Wuertz in a second. And wrestlers Vanessa Bourne, Ezra Judge, Kavita Devi, Alexander Wolf, Skylar Story, and of course Velveteen Dream. Again, we'll get into Velveteen Dream in a little bit later too. Guys, we know there's some obviously backstory behind referee Drake Wuertz and Velveteen Dream. Were you surprised about any of the other wrestlers that were released that they would be let go at kind of a random time here? Eric, you want to start this one?
Maybe Killian Dane and Wolf have been probably one of the more surprising ones for me, because I thought they would have had like a better run in NXT, and I thought they would, I thought they were doing really well. But unfortunately, Killian Dane was one of the guys from what was it? That group that Eric Young was a part of.
Sanity, yeah.
Yeah, Sanity. That was a group that I thought was working well, and that was a group that just got squandered away. And again, that's another thing that me and my brother, we were talking about the other day about WWE just has something good, and then they just completely squander it away, and it happens like that over and over again. And it's just, I think this is something that, again, when we have fans back, this is not going to stop. We're going to be seeing that more and more. You're going to have something good, and then you're going to get squandered away. So, yeah, I'm surprised with Wolf and Killian Dane. Yeah, with the referee thing and Velveteen Dream, I think fans were kind of hoping for that to happen, but we'll probably get with Velveteen Dream a little bit. But with the referee thing, I don't know much about the referee. Maybe, hopefully, RKJ can elaborate with that.
RKJ, so we'll get into that in a second. But was there any other names besides Alexander Wolf that you were surprised to see on this list?
2 people. One that I know pretty much, and the one I didn't know, but after I saw him, I was like, why did he release him? The one I knew was Skylar Story, formerly known as Brandy Lauren, I guess now known as Brandy Lauren. Yep. I thought she had some potential. She was in Evolve. Of course, I know she was involved with Joey Janela and did a lot of things with GCW, I think, and she's hung out with a lot of people outside of other wrestling promotions. I'm not necessarily sure what happened, if she had some heat or something happened with her. They didn't see a lot of potential, or maybe just the women's division is too crowded. I just don't understand. She was only signed to the company for less than a year. So I'm not sure. I saw Shotzi Blackheart say on Twitter, like, I just literally moved her into her new apartment in Orlando last week, and now she's getting released, which is just that
sucks, man.
Like that's awful. And the other one is I believe Ezra Judge, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, like that dude looks really, really good. Like, he has the look of somebody that I think Vince McMahon would cream over. So I just don't necessarily know why they released him. Was it because of Drake Wuertz and the fact he almost beat Drake Wuertz? Allegedly almost beat Drake Wuertz?
That is why. Yeah, but so it's not as much of a surprise for me, because he beat the shit out of Drake Wuertz, or at least threatened to. So not surprised there. I was surprised about Vanessa Bourne. She'd been involved in a lot in NXT. I don't know, maybe if she had heat in the locker room. That Brandy Lauren thing too. Like, I remember her that Evolve pay-per-view they put on the WWE Network back before it was on Peacock. This was when we had fans, probably about a year and a half ago, maybe probably 2 years at this point. She had an amazing match with Shotzi Blackheart. Shotzi Blackheart landed on a bunch of chairs, diving through the ropes. It was great. It was actually the best match of that card, in my opinion. So, again, maybe it's some backstage stuff. It's weird to see NXT people released because NXT's kind of been more the favorable brand. They give people chances. They let people restart. People like Becky Lynch, people like Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks. They all got tryouts, and it took them a while to finally find their characters. So it's weird that they're releasing people. So we've already mentioned a couple times Drake Wuertz. A lot of controversy coming on behind him. He has different political beliefs than a lot of the locker room was displaying. That a lot of people were annoyed by him. He was a nuisance in the locker room. We hear this rumor about Ezra Judge trying to beat him up. Ezra Judge is an African American. Drake Wuertz is not. I'm not going to assume anything, but I think I might know why Ezra Judge probably wanted to beat the shit out of him. But so I at least see this guys is like this. I think this would happen in any job. A guy's being annoying. He's causing people to start fights. He's a nuisance. I don't have any problem with this. Does anybody else have a problem with Drake Wuertz getting released?
Or KJ?
Yeah, I mean, so look, I've interacted with people from all different races, religions, political views. You know what I'm saying? Like I've known and associated with people who have voted for our former president. But, I've always kept it cool and I've always kept it professional. I've always kept it nice and friendly and cordial. I don't let that be the centerpiece of our friendship or our relationship. But it seems like with Jake Wuertz, that became the centerpiece of his relationships, and whether it's in his job or whether it's outside of work. I mean, and we don't need to get into it. The QAnon stuff is just way too much. Like you look at it and you say, oh, it's human sex trafficking. That's a good thing. And then you reveal all these other weird things that are going on, these weird conspiracy theories that aren't right. And not to say that some of these conspiracy theories might not have, there's other conspiracy theories that might have some validity to them. But I mean, looking at this QAnon thing, it's just crazy to me. Like it blows my mind. But the number one thing I think that I did it for WWE for sure was probably when he was going on and about with his NXT shirt at the local meetings, and I believe Seminole County, talking about children shouldn't have to wear masks because it makes them a target for sex trafficking, which just makes absolutely positively no sense.
Well, why are you talking about that at work?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like you don't talk about certain things at work. I heard he I don't know the circumstances behind it, but he walked out of the equality meeting or something about inclusivity, about it. So he walked out of that. The guy's just stirring shit. Like Eric, we have we all know a guy at work that's a little like whatever politically. You could have a million pronouns in your bio on Twitter, or you could think that Donald Trump was the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Right. But you don't need to talk about that at work. You're getting paid. You're doing a job. Nobody else gives a fuck about what you're talking about. And, I at least with me, when I'm at work, I just vibe with people. I'm not going to start saying controversial shit. If someone's talking to me and I agree with them on something and I know nobody else is around, maybe I'll talk about something. But this guy was causing a scene. We all know there's that one guy at work, or there's that one guy that we've worked with that just, or a woman that does it, that just kind of doesn't know when to stop or doesn't know when to tone it down, right? So I think this is a case of that, and then obviously with Ezra Judge and all that stuff happening too. RKJ?
Really quickly, what I just don't understand is just why he. Just some of the things he was just doing in that backstage locker room, just how he was doing it. It just the way he was going about it was concerning. But there's also a lot of other people who I guess allegedly share his beliefs too, and maybe that was the reason why he was there for so long. But I mean, just the things he were doing. Oh, okay. This is what I was gonna say. Honestly, I forgot what I was gonna say. But here's what that's honestly why I went on.
It's fine. No, it's good. Yeah, it's all good.
But here's the thing. Okay, you cannot, when you're with the company, go as a representative for the company on a controversial subject, whether it's on social media or something like that. The fact that he had his NXT uniform on multiple times while being in that meeting made him seem like he was a representative for NXT and the WWE, portraying the views of the WWE. And I've been told this multiple times. And of course, I do a podcast and I've been with multiple companies. So because I do a podcast, I don't say where I work at. I just tell you guys off air where I work at and the things I deal with. But I cannot talk about my workplace on my podcast, or else they'll freaking look it up. This podcast gets big, they'll fire me. So it's a big thing, they'll fire my ass. So it's a big thing. You cannot go outside of work and speak as a representative for the company, whether it's on social media, whether it's in public meetings or whatnot, because if you do, then people are going to think that those views, your views, are the views of the company.
Well, yeah, and that's why I choose not to wear my Pornhub shirt on the podcast, because I don't need to I don't need the company knowing what I'm saying about them on this podcast. So all right, let's move. Let's move on. That was a bad transition. Velveteen Dream. So we obviously know we can't say it. We can't say what's going on. Literally, we can't. YouTube will potentially take the video down or demonetize it if we say it. We know the allegations against Velveteen Dream, but he has finally come out with a statement now that he's officially not a representative of the WWE. Velveteen Dream played it 110 times better than Drake Wuertz did with this whole thing. Okay, to give him a little bit of credit with that. He's released a statement. I don't know what you guys have to say about this necessarily. I read the entire statement. I think that at least the way he explained it, it gives him a chance at a job in the future. Maybe not with WWE, but if the stuff is to be proven untrue, I think he's good. You know what I'm saying? I think that he maybe he's going to take a year or two off, but the way he explained it and the way he went about it professionally. He did it the right way, unlike a lot of other people that had allegations against them about similar stuff. And I think this is a positive for Velveteen Dream. Not that I care, but that's at least what I got out of this message. Eric, I'll give you the first crack on this one. Did you read the message the Velveteen Dream released?
I only saw a little bit of it. And, he did come off as professional. I think the thing is with Velveteen Dream is that I don't wish the guy any harm. I don't wish the guy anything bad or anything like that. But, it's one of those things where he's, he's in charge of his own actions. And I'm not saying that he's guilty or anything like that. But who knows if maybe one day, maybe he'll get another second opportunity with WWE or maybe another company. But I don't know. I don't know the situation because right now it's still kind of flaky with me about Velveteen Dream. I think with Velveteen Dream is that they did bring him back when he was still going with those allegations, and WWE said that he's clear, he's good. And I think a lot of fans, when he was in that Thunderdome, they didn't want to believe it, and I think that's when fans at the same time were kind of driving him out of the WWE, so they were kind of voicing themselves, and I think WWE was backed into a corner saying that the fans haven't been really responsive to Velveteen Dream, and so we're gonna get fans back, and fans are not gonna they're probably not gonna be very responsive to Velveteen Dream, so that let's just release him. And so I think that's what WWE did, really, just to avoid any controversy with Velveteen Dream, because I remember I did see there were signs of when Velveteen Dream came back, there were signs in one of the monitors that say right there, "Fire Velveteen Dream." Not sure if you guys caught that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where WWE is wondering, oh man, I don't think that's a good idea. Whenever fans are brought back for NXT and we bring this guy back, it's one of those things that WWE is just trying to protect in a way. And I think, we'll see what happens with Velveteen Dream. If he's going to take off 1 year or two, he should take it. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, now it's Patrick Clark, realistically, because Velveteen Dream will stay in the WWE universe. RKJ, I know you got thoughts on this. The most interesting thing I thought about this whole message was that he discussed the fact that a lot of the times he was communicating with people, he did it in kayfabe. At least that's what he's claiming. So after hearing that and then reading all the messages, like, what were your thoughts on this whole thing without obviously like indicting the guy or not indicting the guy?
I mean, I don't want to indict anybody yet about all the facts and everything of that nature. I thought, he laid it out really well. Mm-hmm. And what's frustrating for me is, well, why didn't you do that last year when the allegations first came out?
Well, and so he says that in the message. He said that he did not want to do it while he was working with the company because he wanted to. I don't want to use words, but I think he wanted to use it remain kayfabe. You have Velveteen Dream and you have Patrick Clark, right? Because Velveteen Dream is not the one getting accused; it's Patrick Clark, right? So I think he wanted to. I assume he probably thought the allegations maybe would go away and that he'd be able to go back. But obviously, like Eric was saying, there was already fans, behind monitors not wanting him there. So, I think that's at least why he said that he didn't talk about it. But I agree with you. I think he probably should have said something right away.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, saying something right away and proving if you're innocent, if I'm innocent of anything or I feel like I'm not in the wrong on something, I'm first to be like, nope, that's not true. You're full of shit. And you know what I'm saying? But, he had to hide behind it. And I guess maybe WWE lawyers told him something. I can't really speculate on that. But, it's very frustrating for me because he didn't come out and say it early enough. Now, personally, I really, at the beginning, a few years ago, before Velveteen Dream, or before the pandemic and before these allegations came out, I thought Velveteen Dream was the next Rock. You can go back into our old episodes.
For sure. Yeah.
You can hear me say it, like, comment, and subscribe, by the way. You can hear me say it, how, it's a situation where I thought Velveteen Dream at the time was going to be the next Rock. Give him a long title reign with NXT, have him prove himself, then moving up to the main roster and elevate him to a main event. You heard superstars like John Cena and them talking about how he wanted to have a matchup with Velveteen Dream. I mean, this guy was
star. Yeah, big star, yeah.
And then all of a sudden stuff comes out. These allegations come out. And then more and more starts getting leaked about him. It became a concern, obviously, about the allegations, obviously.
Yeah.
But then there was more things that came out about him as a person and what some of the things he was dealing with his coworkers. And, there's stories out about, I believe from Fightful, about how they were reporting how Velveteen Dream had a warrant out for his arrest at one point during his tenure, and things of that nature, allegedly. So, it's one of those things where, I wonder if the combination of the allegations, the pressure that the WWE was facing from the public with what was going on in his backstage heat all came together and they just said, we got to get rid of this guy. Like, this can't happen anymore.
No, and it's so interesting that they didn't just – because they defended him. He says this in the message, too. The WWE said that they through their own investigations, do not believe that Velveteen Dream did anything wrong here. So why do you fire him now? And I think Eric makes a good point. Maybe it's because of the public pressure, like the fans, that they just said he's going to get a poor reaction. We're not going to be able to have a proper heel face character because the fans are just going to probably boo him no matter what. It's just very, very interesting timing. Man, how similar also is this? You'll know about this, RKJ, man. Is this to the Deshaun Watson thing, right? Deshaun Watson, a superstar in the making, potentially maybe the best quarterback in the NFL, and the same exact, not the same exact allegations, but the same exact thing happening in a big time in the guy's career. It's amazing how similar they are. Like we're all saying Deshaun Watson's gonna be the best quarterback, and then all of a sudden, boom. Ask for a trade, and there it is,
Yeah. Well, I have my theories on that. And there's something sketchy going on with that, with Houston and what's going on there.
Yeah,
but
sure.
That's something for cover two. But, it's a
shout out, like, subscribe, and comment. Cover two podcast. Jared Smith.
Cowboys suck.
You have to do that.
Oh, by the way, we played them this year. But really getting back to the point. It's just a situation for me that, Velveteen Dream had so much potential. Yeah. I don't know if it was because he was young. I don't know if the fame got to his head. I don't know if the gimmick got to his head, because you hear that a lot. Mm-hmm. The gimmick gets to these guys, and they actually think they are the gimmick, like Ric Flair and Jake the Snake Roberts, Ultimate Warrior, all these all these wrestlers, the Hulk Hogan, it just gets to them and they become the gimmick, literally. Stone Cold Steve Austin. So they become the gimmick and it hurts their personal lives. It hurts them and it kind of ruins our perception of them. So I'm not sure, but I will say this, guys. I will say this, okay? We've canceled allegedly Joey Ryan. We've canceled allegedly Velveteen Dream. My question is this. Why has allegedly we have not canceled Matt Riddle? Because the vaccinations have not been proven.
Well, I'll say this. Okay, so this is and I was good. This actually goes back to the Drake Wuertz stuff. The hypocrisy of some of this. I don't want to indict WWE on this because obviously there's different circumstances. But again, I said earlier on this podcast, the heat that Jackson Riker has with the very similar type of rhetoric coming out of his mouth, his Twitter, obviously all that stuff, the way he supports things. It's interesting that a guy like that sticks on, but the referee that's kind of expendable gets fired, right? And then you're talking about that. WWE likes Matt Riddle. They keep him around. You have Joey Ryan, you have Velveteen Dream, and they're gone, right? And very similar allegations with all the guys, okay? It's the exact same thing, essentially. So, yeah, that's a good question, RKJ, and I think the only person that could answer that is Vince the Kennedy McMahon, and we know that he obviously does whatever the hell he wants, so I think this is one of those circumstances, right, where he likes a guy, he's looking past the allegations, and I guess he probably didn't see it in Velveteen.
Well, right? I will say this. I think we need to ask the fans, too. Like, I see some of these fans laughing at this Matt Riddle stuff that he's doing, and don't get me wrong, it's great and whatnot, but weren't you last year talking about how terrible of a person he was when these allegations came out almost a year ago about him and his former, I guess, coworker or whatnot? So this situation happened last year, allegedly. Well, this situation came out about allegedly what happened, and everybody was trying to cancel him at first, and now a year later, we're all laughing at his stuff and his segments on Raw. I think, but yet we're trying to condemn Velveteen Dream and Joey Ryan. I think it's a double standard from the fans on wrestling Twitter, or where's your conviction for all these people? Where's your conviction for Matt Riddle too as well,
Yeah, well, Will Ospreay too. Will Ospreay is another big name. They've just let him do. New Japan has just let him do whatever he wants. There has been no difference in the handling of him. And people we know have stated that they don't like the fact that guy is wrestling the guy has the New Japan World Heavyweight Championship. He has the title. Now he got hurt, so maybe there's a little karma there. But now you can talk about the rumors of maybe Kenny Omega going after the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Championship. But it's again, Will Ospreay was put at the top of that company, number one, numero uno. So, oh man, we such interesting stuff going on with it, like such interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's just a sad situation.
It's a sad situation, but man, is it interesting. So Double or Nothing. Let's get to actually pro wrestling. Talk about matches and stuff like that. We got AEW Double or Nothing. Big card. We got Sting involved. We got Kenny Omega defending the AEW World Championship. We got the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle in a stadium stampede. If the Inner Circle loses, they must disband as a team forever. We got the Young Bucks versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Cody Rhodes fighting a professional boxer. Right? So, interesting card on the surface, but I'll get my thoughts on this first. I have not liked the build-up for this Double or Nothing as much as other cards. And I maybe blame it on Blood and Guts. Maybe with that big, obviously, Stadium Stampede match. There's not as much build with that because it's just so close to Blood and Guts. But I just think the rest of this card is kind of it's built almost by names and not by storylines, not by storytelling, right? You have Kenny Omega facing Orange Cassidy and Pac, but like there's not really much backstory to that. There's a story being told, but it's kind of out of nowhere, right? You have Cody Rhodes versus this professional boxer that's associated with QT Marshall, who he's been fighting with, but it I don't know. It kind of seems like they're going off Cody Rhodes' name. You have Miro versus Lance Archer out of nowhere, right? Two guys that were, at the top of the business in other companies before they got to AEW. Stadium Stampede's been built pretty well, but again, blood guts really quick. Sting and Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page seems random to me. Seems really, really random to me. It seems like it's beneath Sting, in my opinion. And then Young Bucks versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. I think it's FTR. Makes a good point. They're the number one team. So why are they not getting the I know they're in the Stadium Stampede match, but like that kind of goes against AEW. So like it's kind of clunky. That's my opinion on it. I still will watch if I can. It's a busy 3 days for me outside of this podcast in the professional wrestling world. But what are your thoughts on this? RKJ, your thoughts on Double or Nothing, just before we start talking about it.
I've been very honest over the fact that I think AEW really throughout this pandemic, there's been hit and miss moments, and lately it's been a miss. I've been very frank and very honest with that. I haven't really been watching AEW like that. I felt like their shows haven't been as consistent from, at the beginning, and I get it. There hasn't been any fans, or there's been limited fans, but I just feel like the shows could be better, and the execution of certain storylines, certain things on that show and the production could be better. And then last week, we hear about AEW going to TBS next year, too.
Yeah.
And that really kind of concerned me, too. Like, you got bumped for hockey. So, the fact of the matter is, they are in a critical time right now because Tony Khan gave us all the impression that AEW was here to stay exclusively on TNT. And about a week or so later, I'm sorry, we're actually moving you to TBS because we're promoting hockey on TNT. So
no, for sure.
My concern is this. Okay, you guys have got to make sure now with fans coming back, and now it being a situation with these major pay-per-view cards having fans and you having the potential to have crossover stars, and there's going to be a lot of wrestling potential coming out who are going to be available on the free agent market in about a month or two with all those WWE releases that just happened not too long ago. You have to put on your best stuff right now, because it's a situation where you could lose steam throughout this year. You go into next year on TBS, and man, it could get worse. We saw, for example, when WCW had Thunder, they put it on TBS, and that show died, and that kind of led to the slow death of the company. And I don't want that to happen with AEW, so I don't want history to repeat itself, with that situation. So I just really hope that AEW can start this week with putting on fantastic show after fantastic show after fantastic show to prove to people that AEW is here to stay.
Yeah, so I actually want to give my thoughts on that too. Eric, your just initial thoughts on the feeling of going into Double or Nothing, how you're feeling about the pay-per-view itself, and then you can transition and also talk about the deal with AEW and TBS, that switch.
As far as the pay-per-view itself, you would think that a Double or Nothing would be one of their big pay-per-views and exciting pay-per-views and should deliver a great card. But this year, I'm just not really feeling it. I mean, I don't want to be feeling like that way. I actually don't want to feel or don't want to have that sense of, there's going to be an AEW pay-per-view. I should have that excitement. But this one just feels like a letdown. As much as I love some of the, I can probably pinpoint a couple matches that may have some momentum going in, like the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle. It's the same Stampede, but it's just a way just to kill. I'm not going to say kill time, but I guess like in a way to keep them feuding until something big happens for All Out, or maybe a pay-per-view later on in the summer, something like that. But some of these matches, like you said, Nick, some of them just aren't around story. They're just big names. Kenny Omega, Orange Cassidy, and Pac. I mean, it's not. Do I really feel like they're deserving as a title shot? I can see fans going behind, being behind Cassidy, but with Pac, I don't know. It's just it's kind of dry at the same time.
Yeah.
And I look at Young Bucks and versus Moxley and Eddie Kingston, a little bit of build in there. I can see the FTR. They're the number one tag team, but they gotta tie that in with the Inner Circle. So I understand that, but it looks like from what I've been seeing, because the Young Bucks have been going back and forth with Impact and AEW, and they want to keep the Bullet Club storyline going and keep Kenny Omega still feuding sort of in a way with Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. So I can see that happening. But all the other matches, not as much. It's been really random, like you guys said.
Yeah.
So as far as the TBS deal with AEW, it's also another thing that I'm kind of like worried about, that okay, hopefully they'll be able to put on their best shows. Bumping their hockey, I can see why TNT said that, hey, you know what, they probably got a better deal with hockey, and they said that, you know what, they're going to be a ratings booster. I have to see which is better, hockey or professional wrestling.
Yeah, well,
let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'll say this: hockey's been buried on the NBC Sports Network, which is a lot of people don't have on their their main cable realistically. So I'm happy for hockey. I'm a fan of hockey, although I watch my teams not really on NBC on national games. I watch my teams on local TV, but with hockey, what I would assume is that they think they can get more exposure for the sport, it being on TV, promoting it with the NBA, promoting it with all their other shows. TNT's doing a pretty good job. They also have AEW. Yeah, no, for sure, exactly. And so, when I look at this deal, I agree with RKJ, man. It's like you said you're on TNT. TBS ain't fucking TNT. That's like saying Fox and then Fox Sports 1, or CABS, and then you're on
Sports Network.
Well, or realistically TNT, but that's not that bad of a thing. But I mean, again, I don't want to watch Phil Mickelson win the PGA Championship on TBS. I want to watch him with Jim Nantz on CBS. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't want to watch the Super Bowl and then have fucking Conan come on after. All right, I'm gonna throw that out there, okay? So, it's disappointing to me that they're moving to TBS. I think ratings might get a little bit lower for this. They do announce a second show, and that's Rampage, that will be on TNT Fridays at 10 p.m., which means Fridays after SmackDown. So that's where they keep a TNT slot. I pose it to you guys. What do you think about a third hour of AEW Dynamite on television? We obviously have, the two shows on YouTube right now for, jobbers essentially, and people to get their records better. But what do we think, RKJ? Rampage on TNT, but Rampage as a whole being a third show for AEW. Or a third hour.
Let me just say, hell no to a third hour. Okay, we've seen this with Raw. We've seen this way back in the day with WCW Nitro. That killed Nitro. It's killing Raw today.
But okay, RKJ, man, though, they're still keeping the 2 hours for Dynamite. They're just, what I'm saying is they're adding a third show or a third hour during the week.
We're saying what a promote.
No, my bad. Yeah. What do you think about Rampage? Easy.
I just look at it as another jobber show, to be honest with you. I just look at it as an underneath show. Like, what can AEW do to make me invested in Rampage? Because I know that their main stuff has to get saved for Dynamite. That's their biggest cash revenue stream. Yeah. So why would I watch that? Why would I watch a show like that? See, the thing that was so great about SmackDown back in the day, besides it being on network television when I didn't have cable, okay, so I could watch The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin back in the day, was the thing that was so great was that they had stars on that thing, and they promoted it and made it a big deal. Hey, we're SmackDown on network television, even if it was the second show, and you knew it wasn't going to be as big as Monday Night Raw because Raw was the parent show. SmackDown was just as a big deal, and if I'm not mistaken, at various points in their history, they've gotten better ratings than Raw. So, the thing about it is they were able to promote their superstars and really get, people more invested in their product through SmackDown. Unfortunately, with Rampage, or unfortunately with AEW Dark and Elevation, yes, they are better shows. They are good shows, but they're not top talent. We don't see a lot of top talent on those shows. And if the top talent does show up, it's pretty much guaranteed that they're going to go over.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the frustrating thing. There is, no surprise there. It's completely known. It's very predictable what's going to happen on these shows. And I feel like it's going to be the same thing with Rampage, just at a different time slot. Maybe it'll be a little edgier. Maybe we'll see a little bit more literally blood and guts, because it's 10 o'clock on a Friday night on TNT. It's cable. So maybe that'll be good in that aspect. But, or in terms of the main stars, are we going to see that? Are we going to see top feuds? And I hope and pray to God that Tony Khan doesn't do what Vince McMahon does and do some type of show separation thing because of all this talent he has. I don't want that.
No, yeah. I don't even think you could do that with the extra hour because it's just one show would have 1 hour. It's the same with SmackDown and Raw right now. It's like, have the two shows compete and have it fair. You don't have an NBA team with 7 guys in the court versus a team with 5. Right? That's what Raw's perspective. Eric, what's your thoughts on Rampage? You get that extra hour. What are your thoughts? Like, how could they make Rampage watchable most weeks, right? Or every.
Well, as again, the Rampage is also a thing that just popped up on my feed, and I was like, wait, what? This is another show? And then I started to remind myself. I started to think back what Tony said. He said that he's been getting, like, as much as we've been getting our talent, we've been getting a lot of talent, getting call-ups onto AEW. Our staff is growing, our wrestlers are growing, and so we need to extend another show. And so this is just another way to, like, put, like you guys said, I mean, it could be another jobber show, but also I think a lot of these releases from WWE and a lot of the other companies have also been trying to find a place for work. And they really, I think AEW is thinking to themselves that, you know what, we're going to figure out another show just for these wrestlers to hop on for Rampage, just to, see what they can do. And I think with Rampage as well, the show Rampage, I think that, I wanted to kind of prove us wrong. They can be like a little bit much more better than AEW Dark or Elevation. Maybe this could be a chance for Rampage to be better than those 2 shows. So with that being said, I think this could be another way to capitalize by having fans back and also having wrestlers, just wrestle, just keep them wrestling. That's what I think I've been wanting for these wrestlers. Like, don't be putting them in like those hokey storylines or any of that for Rampage. Just keep the wrestlers wrestle. And I think it serves a good purpose for wrestling fans to watch another show because, hey, you got nothing else going on Friday nights, so just have wrestling on. And this is kind of like, in a way, kind of like capitalizing on SmackDown for those who aren't fans of WWE SmackDown or any of that. I think there's also a good way by saying that, hey, you know what, I'll just watch Rampage instead.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough show to compete with when you potentially later in the year
it's really
might
new.
Have Dwayne Johnson on fucking Fox later in the year. They're going to be like, Rampage, what's up next after The Rock just came on the TV, the most famous guy in the world? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We need to get back to Double or Nothing really quickly, just because of time circumstances. Let's just give one thing we're excited about with Double or Nothing. One thing that actually might make us watch this pay-per-view and tune in. Eric, I'll let you just get back to talking again. Just give me one thing, a match, a storyline. What are you excited about for Double or Nothing?
Well, I know you guys are probably going to want to talk about the other match, like the premiere matches, but I actually want the match between Miro and Lance Archer to prove me wrong. I mean, I know it kind of came at a random moment, seeing how Lance Archer was saving Sting, and all of a sudden he gets into a feud with Miro, which is really random. But I think this is just much more of a bragging rights kind of match. I mean, I'm not gonna go out there and say that, oh, this match should be billed. Yeah, I mean, I wish it could have been billed properly, but I think those 2 guys, 2 big behemoths going at it. I think having 2 different styles of wrestlers, I think it's going to be a pretty good match. And we'll see who would go out on top. But I wouldn't doubt that Miro would lose the title. I think they're going to keep the title on Miro. So I think that match, sometimes these random matches can come at a weird moment. And sometimes the matches can end up being good. So hopefully this match will deliver.
RKJ. Give me one match storyline, something you're excited about for Double or Nothing.
I'm waiting for Darby Allin to turn heel. I'm waiting for this whole Darby Allin thing to happen eventually. It's gonna happen, but how much longer do we have to wait? Because it's got to happen this year at All Out, right? With fans and a full stadium in Chicago, it's got to happen. But, when is it going to happen? I'm waiting for the slow signs to happen, and I guess we haven't seen it. Darby Allin's been was on a roll with his TNT championship, and then he lost it to Miro. I guess he's going to go back after it eventually, but, in my opinion, Sting is a little bit more important than the TNT championship. If you beat Sting, you're cemented as a top guy for sure. So I'm waiting for, hopefully, a heel turn for Darby Allin at this pay-per-view event.
I like that. That's unexpected. I didn't even think about that realistically. Mine's the Casino Battle Royal. You always give me a good Battle Royal, and then you add a surprise as the final entrant. Who's it going to be? I'm not going to sit here and guess. There's plenty of people I could guess, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just excited. The interesting thing about this match, though, is, obviously we already have a world title match that involves, Orange Cassidy, who realistically doesn't deserve a championship fight, and Pac, who does. But again, the storyline building wasn't as good. You look at this match now, you have Christian Cage, you have Hobbs, you have Penta El Zero Miedo, Jungle Boy, Matt Hardy. But after that, there's not a lot of names that realistically you could put as a legitimate contender or a big enough name to fight Kenny Omega next. It almost seems like, guys, now depending on who the surprise is, but it almost seems like the competition for Kenny Omega in other companies for the world title is better than it is for AEW. It's very kind of strange the way that's worked. Now, if we get certain people in as the surprise, that changes things. And I almost realistically hope the surprise is a certain person, and that person fights Kenny Omega next for the AEW championship. Andrade, sorry. But, it's kind of curious that, like, they're setting up this Casino Battle Royal, which is a hokey way always to crown a number one contender for a world championship. But a lot of the guys in the match are not going to win the match. And so I'm interested to see who that surprise is, because I want it to be somebody good. And maybe somebody that was former NXT champion, and maybe someone who used to be with Selena Vega. Yeah, just throwing it out there. That I'm hoping it's somebody good in Andrade. Okay, let's switch topics completely, guys. Wow, has it been crazy in the world of boxing recently? We got YouTube guys fighting guys that are 50-0. Yeah. We got two YouTubers that we don't know, but are fighting and fighting at the press conference. We were supposed to have literally fighting. Don't even look at it. It's not worth our fucking time. Okay, we're not covering it on the podcast. Okay, we'll cover Logan Paul and all that stuff because we have to. But
you're forced.
But so I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
But when we thought it couldn't get crazier,
damn it.
We get the world championships, the world heavyweight championships in boxing. We get a new storyline. And we're getting Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury III in 2 months. Just like that. An arbitrator that was looking at the case, looking at the contracts, stated that Fury could not fight anybody else. His next challenger had to be Deontay Wilder because he had a rematch clause. Again, no matter what you think, Wilder has only lost once, and he drawed the other fight. So realistically, he does deserve a rematch. If this was the world of pro wrestling, this could happen too. But looking at it realistically, we all know what happened in the first fight, and we all know what happened in the second fight. I'll get my comments on this first, and I'll toss it to you guys. I'm not as excited about this as I was about Joshua and Fury, and it's because of the lopsidedness of the victory by Tyson Fury over Deontay Wilder. It was about when I say lopsidedness, just the general mismatch. It reminded me of I'm trying to find a good example here in a sport. I had one earlier, but I can't remember it. But it reminds me of you have a guy that's so one-dimensional, and then a guy who has all the tools fighting. It doesn't look good, right? And I just don't see a way Deontay Wilder can win this next fight unless it's a knockout. You see the videos of him training. Okay, I guess it looks different. I guess it looks kind of, it looks more powerful, I guess. He's only practicing his right hand. Again, he could be practicing anything in the training camp, but it only looks like he's practicing his right hand. Well, that's see-through. That's easy for Tyson Fury. He'll just do the same thing. I'm going to attack you. I'm going to knock you into the ropes. I'm going to knock your equilibrium out. You know, don't wear something heavy in the ring this time. Don't have your legs out under you. So, you know, there's the lopsidedness, and then like I just mentioned, there's the excuses, the foolery, the absolute bullshit that Deontay Wilder has been spewing ever since this fight. It sounds like a guy that got his equilibrium knocked out of his damn head. So I will watch it because I'm a Deontay Wilder fan. And anytime you get a big boxing match, these guys are going to talk shit. It's going to be good. It's going to be entertaining. And Deontay Wilder, I have seen starch guys out of nowhere. So he can do it. And he did it to Tyson Fury in the first fight. So I will watch. But, man, let's get this fight over with. And then let's get to Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. But if Deontay Wilder wins, we got a good heavyweight division, I guess. But, yeah, those are my comments on that. I'll give this to RKJ next, and I'll let Eric finish the podcast with it. RKJ, we've watched both fights. You've watched both fights. We haven't watched both together. But your thoughts on Fury and Wilder 3?
Yeah, I don't think anything is going to match up to the first fight when Fury rolls up like the Undertaker. I don't think anything's going to match up. But I got a comparison maybe to another sport you'll like. It's kind of like Andre Drummond versus Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Okay, Andre Drummond, in case you don't know, is the definition of a traditional 3 or traditional 5. A big man who cannot shoot. He just stands in the lane. He claws up the lane. LeBron can't freaking drive in the hoop. Freaking Anthony Davis can't drive in the hoop. That's why we lost that damn game yesterday to Phoenix, because he
DeAndre Ayton now played the shit out of him, bro.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And then you have Nikola Jokic, who literally can do everything. He can shoot, he can pass, he can move. He's very mobile, and that is today's NBA. Okay, but anyway, getting back to the point here, yeah, Tyson Fury is going to knock him the hell out. Now, I don't know what round it's going to be, but Tyson Fury is going to beat him. The fact of the matter is this, Deontay Wilder, he's just doing this because he has no other fights lined up. He needs to make another payday. And it's a situation where, guess what? Fury agreed to a third fight, so he has to live up to the fight agreement that was originally made. But Fury can make easy work of Deontay Wilder, make some good money in the process, get some more recognition, and we can just move on to Anthony Joshua when we can really have fans back in these stadiums by the fall.
Yeah. No, you make a good point. Like, why not Deontay Wilder just go fight somebody else, make extra money, and then prove himself again to fans? Go knock out Andy Ruiz. Go knock out Andy Ruiz Jr. Go knock out Dylan White. Like, go do, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting. So, Eric, your thoughts on this new fight in the heavyweight division, a new fight, but also an old fight.
Well, now that you brought up Andy Ruiz, I mean, have you seen him lose weight? I mean, that guy completely, is unrecognizable. So maybe a fight between him and Deontay Wilder would be, I think he'd probably have a hard time with Andy. But Deontay and Tyson Fury, yeah, this is something that I think a lot of fans did not expect, and I think we didn't really want in the first place. I mean, we were actually wishing for Joshua versus Tyson Fury in the summer, but apparently, that got moved, and Deontay Wilder did agree to a rematch clause between him and Tyson Fury. I was just hoping that they would have had it later on, but it's just obviously like what RKJ is just another payday for Deontay Wilder. He does feel like he's been humiliated and embarrassed between, the second encounter that he had, putting up the excuses about the armor and how he put in how many pounds of weight that he put in, that he actually weighed more than he should have in the last bout. And so, yeah, I think Deontay Wilder, he's been itching and clawing to get a rematch. And he believes that he can beat Tyson Fury. But Tyson Fury is one of those guys that he's been changing up things. And I actually doubted when he went up against him and he fired his old coach and he brought him a new team. I thought that was going to serve him a bad purpose. But I can see why RKJ Man was right on that one. They had to let him go because, they weren't performing well. So Tyson Fury, did the right thing to remove the old coach and move into the new coach. And so now Tyson Fury, he's got his fight IQ is way high, and not sure if you guys saw this video of Tyson Fury, but he was hitting the heavy bag, and then all of a sudden, a parts of the ceiling came down as soon as he was hitting the heavy bag. It's just completely.
It was gimmick. That's still definitely gimmick. I can confirm that it was gimmick. My sources tell me that gimmick was on for the first thing. But Eric, I learned something very interesting from what you said. Very interesting stuff that you just said there.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Blackstradamus was right yet again?
Yeah, that last bout. Yeah, I'll give you credit.
Yes, sir.
I've been waiting to tell you about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to tell you. Yeah, because we were critical about the part where Tyson Fury was. I don't know if it was a good idea switching coaches. I don't know, but hey,
That's true.
there's a good thing. So with this new coach, I wouldn't doubt that Tyson Fury, coming into this next bout between him and Deontay Wilder. I know I think Tyson Fury is going to change up a few things, but they're still far ahead, for August, right? I think they're going to be fighting in August, so still going to be a long ways. Or July. Sorry, yeah, July. Yeah, July. Sorry, late July. So this is going to be, it's going to take a while for me to even figure out how this is going to turn out. It can go both ways, but as of right now, I'm seeing Tyson Fury as the most favorable guy.
Yeah, no, for sure. And just based on the information, it'd be hard for us right now unless we learn something different. So now Anthony Joshua is supposed to fight the light heavyweight champ Alexander Usyk, the Ukrainian, who's one of the best boxers in the world. He just hasn't fought anybody yet. So Joshua, they have until May 31st to come up with a contract for that. So Joshua's got to fight a legitimate fighter next. So wow, did this all change so quickly? But it's interesting. It's interesting stuff. I'll say this, Eric. I don't think the Ruiz Wilder matchup would go well. I think Wilder would start.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm just saying, bro. He got knocked down by somebody that wasn't Deontay Wilder in his last fight. Come on.
Winning by decision, but still. Yeah.
And then after that, he'll put a cheeseburger next to Ruiz while he's sleeping.
That's what he'll do. Stop it, man.
Jesus, bro.
Don't be embarrassing him.
Gotcha. Hey guys, good podcast today. This was fun. We'll be back. We'll be next week talking more extensively about what happened to Double or Nothing. Any other boxing news? We obviously have Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather happening next weekend, so we'll discuss that as well. So we got a big podcast for you next week. But if you missed any topics, go back. You can see in the description what you missed. We time tagged everything and all that stuff. RKJ, finish off this podcast the correct way.
Hey man, like, comment, and subscribe. But as always, raise the glass in the sky and salute the ring to the road.